Daily grind, yeah, daily grind, yeah. Welcome to the daily grind. I lost it. I'm your host.
Good.
It starts
So good
great
for so long. Yeah.
and then I ruined it.
Hey, need the energy on a Monday, though.
That's what I do, man. Happy Monday. I'm your host of the Daily Grind, Luke Hatmaker, and I got Parrish and I got Uncle Buck both with me because it's Monday. How we doing, fellas? We good?
We're good.
Doing good.
I mean, I can always speak for me, but I'm good. You know,
Yeah. I'm doing good, man. Football season's almost over, but we'll be fine.
Yeah, man, it's weird football season almost being over. But thank God the Grizzly season is like, we're right. My friends who aren't really NBA fans are texting me and they're like, hey, man, football season's over. Is now a good time to get into the Grizzlies? I'm like, hell yes, it is.
Yeah.
If you want to, deal with the crazy stuff we deal with on Twitter. But the Grizzlies are playing the New York Knickerbockers tonight in Madison Square Garden. The Grizzlies are on a 6-game road win. I believe it's the longest streak in the NFL currently, or NBA. See, I'm confused. We talked about football. The Knicks are still favored in this game, which I guess makes sense. They're favored by 3.5 on their home court. Grizzlies won every game left.
That's actually a push. Because that home team gets, I know football, the home team gets 3 points. I don't know how it works in basketball, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't either. Similar. But yeah, you're right. Typically, a home team gets 2.5, 3 points in football. Yeah. So
I assume the same thing, but I'm like you. I don't know how it works.
How often, though, in the NBA do you play anything on a neutral site? So, I mean, I don't even know that they even care. Like,
yeah, it's a good point. If this is going to be, I would say, a step up in competition, not to be rude, from what the Grizzlies have played the last. Maybe a little rude. I mean, like the Jazz, the Pelicans, the Hornets, those were games that I think
the last
we were like,
games, at least.
Yeah, you got to win those. You had to win those.
Minnesota.
I like playing
Minnesota. Yeah. They ain't New York level, but that's a formidable opponent.
Yes, but this is going to be a test of our mettle. I would say at least, this is going to be the best opponent that Gigi's played, at least since he's been back. Like with the lineup as constructed with Gigi in it, this is going to really be their first big test, I would say. Parrish, what are you wanting to see most out of the game tonight? If you had to pick one thing that you would, even if we lost the game, if you had to leave and you were like, you know what, I saw this, I'm happy, what would it be?
Keep up with the turnovers. I think they have done well before the game against who they just played. Sorry, I keep all this game right. Yeah, Utah. They had 16 in that game, but I think I wrote an article on this. They only had like 13 turnovers. The most was 13 like their last couple of games prior to that, or maybe Charlotte game they had 16. But the other games they averaged. Put it this way, they were averaging like 13 turnovers in their last since the San Antonio game, the first San Antonio game. So over the last 6, essentially. I wrote the article, over that 5-game stretch, they only averaged 13. In the league average, that's 13. They would have been third in the league with that, basically, if they continue that for the rest of the season. They're currently 29th, just above Utah. 16.5 turnovers. So
I was going to ask.
Yeah, I think if you could get it down to that 13, because that's about 14 is about league average. 13, you're top 5. Oklahoma City and I think Houston, they're like 11 turnovers a game. So you're probably getting it. But if you get to about 13, you're at least in the thick of things in the league. So I like to see them continue to keep turnovers down. John Morant stayed locked in. I think he's feeling better. He was very talkative in the locker room after the game on Saturday. Very different from the other night. So you can tell he's definitely bothered by the elegance. And I guess we'll see Santi and who else supposed to be back?
Jake.
Yeah. You said one thing. I got another one for you.
Yeah. To your point, Parrish, in the last 4 games, it's been 16-12, 16-13 in turnovers, 13 being against Minnesota. So, I mean, as often as good as this offense works when you're not turning the ball over, and as efficiently as it works, if you can keep that number like below 15, I like our shot and anything. Like we allow ourselves a lot of grace with the turnovers, which is really astounding how bad it has to be and how bad it has been at times to actually affect the game negatively. Because as quick and as many possessions as we get, you've really got to get that number up to really set yourself back. Now, New York is one of those teams, though, with Brunson that is really comfortable at getting in a half-court game, so it is imperative tonight not to let that number get too high because they are totally fine with, having to keep the football turn. They're really comfortable with going like 3 yards in a cloud of dust on every possession and just nickel and diming you to death and really slowing the game down. So, yeah, you've got to absolutely take care of the turnovers tonight. And I'm curious, it's just another guy that Jalen Wells can show out against. I want to see him on Brunson in this kind of matchup because they do a lot of pick and roll. Brunson is an expert at getting into the lane with the midi and drawing fouls. I want to see Jalen Brunson on that matchup. Now, they may move him around a little bit. I don't know what their strategy is going to be. Maybe he hangs out on Mikal Bridges or even has a spell on Cat. But I really want to see what he does like a smaller, crafty veteran that is Jalen Brunson and how unique he is in this NBA.
Yeah, I think regarding the turnovers, the Timberwolves or not Timberwolves, good God. The Knicks, I need to get my brain on straight. The Knicks are 21st in steals in the league. So you got to hope they're not great in blocks. I think they're 29th in blocks per game. I mean, it's
the Grizzlies' turnovers are not exactly steals.
No, they're not.
They are throwing it to the wrong team.
I would say what helps with Grizzlies turnovers as well. A lot of these turnovers are like dead ball turnovers. What hurt them. So that does help if y'all gonna turn it over, you don't want points off the turnover. They do. Yes. They do do a pretty good job in that department. So.
Yes, I would. You mentioned the other rookie as well, Jalen Wells, and I want to see what Zach Edey continues to do because the past 2 games he broke his. I mean, he had that spell where we weren't really utilizing him. He didn't have double-digit games, and he's had back-to-back double-digit games. He was Drew Eubanks got tossed over the weekend trying to tag. I don't know if he should have. Whatever. I think by the technical definition of a flagrant 2, I don't know. I
think it was you remember it was like it may have been maybe 2 plays. It was very quick. That Ja Morant, what's the name, Keontae George thing, and then there was like 2 plays like that. It was very quick, so that's probably why they
listen, it
was very. That's why
the thing with Drew Eubanks, if that was a lesser man, that player would have went flying into the stanchion. Like, let's not pretend like it's the whole Shaquille O'Neal should have gotten more foul calls argument. Like he is bigger and he absorbs more, but he took off running.
He did,
and put his shoulder in him. Like if Edey doesn't catch him out of the corner of his eye,
he's on his ass.
He probably do fly.
That's dangerous. And so I don't mind him getting tossed. It looked very minor, and I know Brevin even said, that'd have been a flagrant 4. We must have had flagrant 4s if that's a flagrant 2. Like a great line from Brevin. And I get what you're saying. It didn't look bad. That's because Edey's 7'5" mammoth that is very difficult to move.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It didn't look bad because he was going up another 7-footer.
That would have killed John Conchar. Like you would have stretchered off John.
Even Jaren.
And Drew Eubanks is just the perfect hateable dude. Like apparently he is like, I don't know what to compare him to, but he messes with the wrong folks. Like he's just like he thinks he's bigger than he is, and he wants to take on the crazy people. Like Isaiah Stewart punched him in the tunnels behind the stadium one day. And then now he goes and picks a fight with modern day Yao Ming. Pick your battles, as my parents would say.
Yeah, it's big swing and a miss on Eubanks' part, man. It's like, bro, really him? And then I just like Edey's response too. I mean, I guess the play before, according to DeMichael, he was okay. Ja told us after the game. I was in this game.
Was that you?
Yeah, man. So
I think I got it on video.
Yeah, dude. I saw that, and it's exactly what you want to see. Kleiman continues to nail this draft, but his drafting is just like out of this freaking world. But like these 2 rookies, man, they're contributing. I'm not looking at the Kia rookie ladder anymore because I think even casuals, people who don't like casuals are starting to be like, man, this Jalen Wells kid is the best rookie in this class. I'm not even looking at the rookie ladder. We should have 2 first-team all rookies. I'm just excited to see their continued growth against a team against against a really superior team. Like not superior to us, but like superior to the competition we've been playing.
Right.
The Knicks are much better than the Jazz and the Hornets and the Pelicans. I
want to see us beat them. I love playing.
Yes,
we've had a very sleepy weekend, and that's I've said it 100 times. Good teams beat bad teams, and great teams blow them out. And it has been very sleepy fourth quarters, and you can attribute the turnovers to that. I mean, poor defense in the fourth quarters, like whatever. Like you're up by 30 in the last 3 games at different points, and so I love seeing a step up in competition. I love watching the Grizzlies play in Madison Square Garden.
Yes,
I think that Ja Morant goes into this game absolutely on fire because sometimes he is and sometimes he isn't on the offensive side on the scoring aspect of it. And so I think Ja Morant goes in there and tries to put some highlight film together in Madison Square Garden tonight. And I want to see us get in a competitive game and close it out late.
Yeah,
also speaking of that, Ja Morant said, I don't know if he's being jokingly or not, but he was saying coach made him dunk. You mean he had to dunk after the whole thing? And he was like, my coach made me just look like.
He
was like, my coach made me dunk.
I got to say something to that. Like, Taylor Jenkins has got to slow down a little. He gets way too in the fight to be a head coach.
I did too.
And I'm okay with him getting a tag, but how many times does he go after players? Like,
and
one time,
one dude with a screw loose could end Taylor Jenkins. Like,
yep. But one time, I think it was after the Zach Edey win. I saw him. You remember in Milwaukee? He was the coach that used to always.
He did it.
Oh,
he did it.
He did.
I saw him do that. I was like, he went back to his Milwaukee Bucks days.
Dude, that was crazy. It was the same play where he should have gotten the tech. He ran down to the other end, put his arms out, and then ran back to the center and started being like, "Oh, it was great. I love it. I love it."
Oh, rapidly. Did y'all catch John Conchar just dribbling the basketball in between? So while the whole thing was going on, they was breaking.
It was Jitty. It was Jitty.
He grabbed the basketball just like started dribbling.
Jitty is he's the best. He's the best. I want his shoes. That's what we want. What is Jenkins tackling the Lakers is MVP. That's it. I do want maybe not last thing. About this game. Luke Kennard went from having 2 really good games to not really being much of a factor on Saturday. Luke does seem to perform well, and that was also second night of a back-to-back. Do you think Luke is going to get back to I believe we have all been the more threes he takes, the better player he is, and I don't know. I hope we're getting really close to the trade deadline. I had a conversation with a guy yesterday while I was watching the football game at a out, and he was saying, like, do you really think Kennard is going to, do you trade Luke Kennard? Like, do you put him with Marcus? And it's getting to the point where there's a lot of conversations happening. Like, do you want to keep him? Do you not want to keep him? Do we extend him because he's been playing so well? I hope he continues this hot streak, if only for himself, because watching Luke dunk, watching Luke make 7 threes, this team they feed off of that shit. Pardon my language. Like, this team feeds off of, you can tell that when Luke is hooping, they seem to really like it. It's fun for everybody.
Things go well.
Yes.
Things go well when Luke's doing well.
Yes. And I hope that continues. The Knicks are probably going to play their starters, 40 minutes each tonight. They may.
Super dope. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, our bench is going. I mean, we'll see what happens.
That was one thing I want to say. I need to see players playing tonight. We don't need that. I don't need to see people trying to be played. That's what I don't need. The Knicks going to play their guys first. So, you can get program tonight. If not any other night, tonight for sure.
Yes. I just pulled it up. So, stat leaders, the leaders in the NBA in minutes per game. Number 1, Mikal Bridges. Number 3, Josh Hart. Number 6, OG Anunoby. Let's see.
Sit 3 of the top 10.
Yeah. So, and then you drop a little bit before you get Brunson's 23. But Mikal Bridges is averaging 38.5 minutes a game.
Jesus Christ.
I'm surprised.
So much more?
Because he played like full playoff games.
Josh Hart's the machine.
But you know what's crazy? Mikal Bridges stays healthy. He's always like played high minutes no matter where he's been. And
he's always healthy. Yeah.
Yep.
Man. About Luke, I think that Greer's right here in the comments. He is a specialist. And this is the reason why I was stumping to re-sign him, because he was a last-minute kind of one-year deal signed right before the season started, and I accidentally clicked on that. I don't know.
Well, check it out.
Yeah, check it out. I guess we'll plug Daniel Grier.
Daniel Grier, 11 a.m.
But he is a specialist, and he is a specialist in the most important field that is
shooting
that the NBA offers. And so, like, you always want that guy on your team. And against the last game of Utah, he didn't have it. He only shot 5 threes in the game. He was 1 for 5. He was 1 for 7 from the field. But that game previous against the Pelicans was no John Morant, too. So he was able to really get into, like, the offense and get into the flow of it. And then he just started shooting fireballs. And when Luke gets to shooting fireballs, like, it's over. Right? Yeah. He's just going to keep shooting.
Yeah.
And so he didn't get enough time to shoot himself out of a bad start against
the Jazz.
Yeah. But, you know, Luke, I don't think you'll ever expect Luke Kennard to take 12 threes a game every single game. But you want him if you need him. And that's the reason why I did send the message out to you and Rusty. It's like, at what point do you kind of like not shop him? And the iron's hot right now. Like, you'll never get more for him, but also he's never probably been worth more to you.
Yep. I mean, leading the league in 3-point percentage, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, if not, he's the lead leager since the year started, at least. I know he's in the
second in history.
He's second in history
in percentage.
Behind Hubert Davis.
Yeah.
Behind Hubert Davis, the coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels.
It's awesome.
Hey, my thing, I would say my thing, I think I didn't get a chance to answer about Luke either. My thing, I think Grizzlies fans, we focus too much on role players. Role players are not consistent. That's the reality. Right. Go back to the Minnesota game. Your big three in those big games, that Minnesota game specifically, Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson collectively played well. And you had one, I think Jalen Wells had a pretty good game, at least defensively. And someone else, I can't remember who at the time. You just need 1 or 2 role players per game. If you have Santi and Luke have good one night, but then Gigi and Vince do well another night, or then Marcus, it don't matter who steps up as role players. They're role players. They're going to be inconsistent. In playoff time, they're going to be inconsistent. As long as your big three plays well, that's where we're really shooting them out. So I don't expect Luke to he had like 27 points one game. He's not doing it.
He ain't going to do that.
Yeah. In that Minnesota game you're talking about, Ja, Jaren, and Desmond combined for 69 points and of 108. And the only other person in double figures was Wells. And I'm 100% with you. Like, I know me and Rusty argue a lot about LaRavia and all these other kind of things around the edges. But ultimately, you want to see your big three play well. And if those big three play well and you get some help around the edges, then, you're going to win more than you lose. And that's what's most impactful when it comes to playoff basketball. Yeah.
Well said. I think that you both – that's right. And then if tonight's going to be like playoff atmosphere, playoff type game, we're going to have to see which role players step up, because you're right. If the big three can show up and do their thing, we just need a couple of these guys to show out.
This was my pick for the NBA Finals this year too, preseason. Grizzlies Knicks. And a part of that was just like a homer on one side. And if the Grizzlies are going to make it, I would love to see an NBA Finals game in Madison Square Garden.
Oh, God. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Any more thoughts on the last thought on the game before we get you out of here, Parrish?
No, not much to me. Like I said, big game. Hey, that's fine. That's fine a way to get it. The Grizzlies do well against the Eastern Conference. I don't have the record in front of me right now, but they do have a good record against the East. So, hey, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, we'll get you out of here, brother. We're going to take just a little quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk some NFL, AFC, NFC championships just right after this quick one.
Tune in to the Two Buck Sports Show with Rusty Witten and Drew Gann every Tuesday and Thursday live at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Oh, God, I get so freaking close, man. I was sitting there looking at it. I was like, did I do it? I think I did it all. I think I did it all. I think I did it all. Nope.
Yeah, because behind the scenes for everybody, we don't see what's going on either. He's trying to build and put everybody right, and we were just watching the commercial, so it's totally blind for Luke.
And I get distracted really easily, so it's not fair. But anywho, we had some football yesterday. Did you which game do you want to start with?
We'll go in order. How about that? Because I have more thoughts about the second one anyways.
Let's do that. So the Commanders lost to the Eagles 23-55. I think I think the Eagles have probably one of the best rosters. I don't enjoy their team. I like Saquon. And they were going to win this game if they ran the ball down the Commanders' throat and if the Commanders turned the ball over, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. You know, I'm trying to remember who the Commanders have beaten throughout the playoffs here.
Beat the Lions and the Bucks. No, not the Bucks. Lions.
Actually, that sounds right.
No, I think the Rams beat the Bucks, right? Nah, I don't know. Hold on, let me do this.
I don't remember. Anyways, but in every game I've watched the Commanders, it was like if the opponent would just run the ball consistently, then they can't stop the run. And what Philadelphia did to them was just bully them. And you got first play of the game, a 60-yard run for Saquon. He scored 3 times. Jalen Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns. A.J. Brown, who is the only reason why I would be happy for the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl, is like my boy A.J. Brown.
Yep.
Like, I'd love to see him get one. However, I feel like this is the only way that I can possibly etch out a scenario in which I'd be all right with the Chiefs winning, because I've never rooted for the Eagles. I don't like them. Their coach is pretty arrogant. I'm not a big Nick Sirianni guy, and like
he's awful.
Yeah, so it's just Philly's easy to root against.
Yes,
always has been, always will be. But they just dominated the Commanders, and the Commanders are the best story of the playoffs. But I found myself being like, you know, now that we know the Super Bowl matchup, and even at, you know, looking at the NFC championship matchup between the Commanders and Eagles, I was like resentful that the Lions weren't there.
Same.
Like, I just wanted so bad to see Dan Campbell leading up to a Super Bowl. Like, and we didn't get that. And props to the Commanders for knocking them off in Ford Field. Like, that was impressive. But I really want to see the Lions. Like, that's what I wanted to see now.
Same, man. I think I don't know. The feel-good story of the season, the feel-good story for everything for me was like, go Lions, man. I'm an NFC North guy, and I still wanted to see the Lions succeed.
Right. Well, you don't really. I mean, at some point, you just got to, like, root for something else, right?
We don't have to talk about that, man. We hired a good guy. We got a good hire.
Yeah, you got
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, which is, you know, the most forefathers name ever.
The waspiest name I've ever heard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Benjamin Johnson also signed the Declaration of Independence. Like,
you're not mistaken. We'll have a Bear spot later.
Yeah,
I think let's go to the second game though. Like, cause I want to. This is tough, man.
Yeah. Listen. All right. So I have multiple thoughts. First, with the Bills, like, I was rooting hard for the Bills. Everybody was rooting for the Bills. There's no more likable person in the NFL, in my opinion, than Josh Allen.
Yeah,
like, I love the person Josh Allen.
Yeah, good dude.
And he just seems like a total, like, he seems like a guy I could have a drink with. And that's what I respect most about anybody that makes it famous and makes a ton of money, is I feel like they could walk in to my home in Ripley, Mississippi, and just like chop it up. We just have, like, we could be cool, you know?
Sit down and watch a college game.
And it just sucks. Like, I really was rooting for them. They made the touchdown to take the lead, and then Kansas City takes it back, and then they've got a chance and you get stopped on 4th and 1 again. After getting stopped on 3rd and 1 multiple times, they bailed themselves out every time with 4th down until they needed it the most, and they didn't get bailed out. Then they got behind the sticks, and he threw the lob, and the dude just out of nowhere. I mean, nobody expected there to be a receiver close, and it just happened to be that Dalton Kincaid was surprised as all of us, like, oh my goodness, this ball's coming our way.
It's gonna get to me.
And he bailed it, and he balked horribly, and he'll feel horrible the rest of his life. That play was not nearly as bad as Mark Andrews.
Agreed.
Mark Andrews, it hit him in the chest on the goal line on a route that he ran, knowing he was getting the ball.
Yes.
This was a schoolyard Hail Mary that is like, oh my goodness, this thing came to me, and he wasn't prepared.
Nope.
Great players. Julian Edelman makes that play. We've seen it. The greats make it. Nobody thinks Dalton Kincaid is a great. Okay, like he missed.
No, yeah, that's a good point. Like the Mark Andrews, I don't want to say he could have
rolled out right.
Yeah,
he took the goal line route. Like
Kincaid was like, oh no, and I don't think the throw was really up there. I was like, it's much tougher situation.
Expect it to come cleanly too.
No,
how does it not get tipped? How do I not get hit? Like there's so many things that could happen, and it just landed in his lap. I remember that that first Super Bowl I think that Kansas City went to against the Bucks, where Brady beat him, and they pummeled Mahomes all game on that defensive line. And Mahomes, like a third baseman ranging right into foul territory, throwing it to first. Mahomes was off the ground sideways and threw a pass. I don't remember who it was, but it just hits him in the chest, and I was like, "Bro, like nobody thought he was gonna throw that. Like,
not a soul. That's
what reminded me of with Dalton Kincaid. It's like I feel he feels bad, and he probably should carry a little bit of guilt, but like
superhero play from from Josh Allen. That was a superhero play from Mahomes you're talking about. You can't prepare for that.
And to take this all the way around, like I don't want to be that guy, and I certainly don't want to see like Kansas City media like shoving it down my throat. But I was a guy that late in the Patriots dynasty, I was like, okay, maybe we just need to look at what's going on here.
Yeah.
Like Andy Reid, we've been looking at this for the Kansas City Chiefs for several years now, and they still have guys running open on. He can always manufacture an open receiver on a crossing route. It is amazing, and Patrick Mahomes is amazing. He's clutch. He's just a winner, man. But the thing that impresses me the most is that he always stays upright long enough, and just long enough for that dude to get open, and he never misses it.
It's getting to the point where it's like you said, you just
so here's the stats. Since Mahomes becoming a starter, year 1, AFC Championship, won the Super Bowl, lost the Super Bowl, AFC Championship, won the Super Bowl, and this year they are in the Super Bowl again. So 7 years of Mahomes being a starter. He's got 3 Super Bowls. He's lost in the AFC Championship game twice, and he's lost the Super Bowl. I mean, he's Thanos, right? Like,
do you know who the Bears drafted before him?
Mitchell Trubisky. Yeah. Listen, that's a real. What's the dude's name that got drafted by Portland above Michael Jordan?
Bowie,
whatever.
Yeah.
And it's Spagnuolo. I mean, listen, I've got a soft spot for Spagnuolo because Eli Manning is like my favorite player of all time. I grew up watching him. I've got pictures of me with him as a kid. Like, awesome. I love Eli Manning. And Spags was the DC for those Giants teams that just blitzed Tom Brady's helmet off
all night.
And for that play, and everybody knew, like the commentators know, Tony Romo knows, Nance knows, we all know that at some point this is something weird is coming. They're going to bring the house.
Yep.
And they brought the house one time, and then Tony Romo was like, I think they're going to like drop out of this. They just brought 8, no safety high, and they just brought the house, and it didn't work. And then, or they hit the hot route and got like 4 or 5 yards. So they were the manageable 4th down. And then they show blitz again, and Romo's like, I think they're going to drop out of it. Well, they drop out of it, except they bring a corner.
Boy.
And I was like, Spagnuolo did it again, man.
He's the man.
My point is, like, and I don't want to be that guy. And if you want to hate the Chiefs, I get it. But when they're playing the Philadelphia Eagles, it's easier for me to look at this and be like, I think you do have to appreciate, like, it is so hard to win back-to-back Super Bowls. It rarely gets done. Nobody's ever done three. And the marriage of Mahomes and Reed and Spags and Chris Jones and Travis Kelce, like, that is so special.
Yeah.
Like, it is so impressive to be able to do this, not in and not out. And so I think I'm just going to, like, hope for a good game. But, like, I'm not going to be upset to see the Chiefs three-peat, because it's very well possible that in 10 years we look back and Mahomes is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen, the most successful, more and more Super Bowls. Like, anything is possible. And it's just like, hey, we watch the best, I guess.
Yep.
And you compare that to Jalen Hurts, and I'm just like, yeah, I still think he sucks.
Yeah, I'm not a Jalen Hurts. I mean, he played well, but I'm just not a Jalen Hurts fan. I do think it's pretty funny that we're looking at a Super Bowl matchup where it is going to be Chiefs Eagles. If the Chiefs win, we're going to be talking about one of the greatest accomplishments if not the greatest accomplishment
the
of all time.
First ever three-peat.
Yeah. And if the Eagles win, I don't think anyone gives a damn. I don't know. Nobody outside of the city of Philadelphia is going to be talking about it.
Oh no, there's going to be a lot of people who are happy with a Philly win just because it's not the Chiefs. There's a lot of people out there that's just like, anyone but the Chiefs. And I'm not that guy, because I'm just going to, I'm not going to say I'm got like a vested interest. Like, I'm not saying I'm rooting for the Chiefs, but I think I can sit back and look at it historically and be like, that's impressive.
Pretty damn cool.
And I am, listen, the Super Bowl halftime show, like, can we get like music? Like, Kendrick Lamar is the most pop culture relevant act right now. I'm not going to say, but like, my favorite halftime shows ever are like, maybe like Prince. That was amazing. I want big band stuff. Like,
Prince was awesome. Prince was great.
I like big band stuff though. Like that, I'm a former musician, and so it's like I do want the big band live show kind of concert.
Dude, we're drafting halftime shows this Wednesday. That's what we're going to do, because this is fun. We could have a whole...
I'll have the number 1 pick, and guess what?
I will have the number 3 pick, and I'll probably take Lady Gaga. That
was good. Yeah.
Really good. But and Bruno Mars, I'm with you. I love having, like, band. I'm a musician. I get it. We're not going to take a break right now, because we're just going to go into Mondays Before Lasagna, because my weekend was... You got your coffee. My weekend was filled with a lot of sports viewing, and I'm not even complaining. I watched a lot, a lot of basketball, a lot of football, and it was just like really, really great. That was my lasagna. I love a good sports weekend where I don't really leave the house, watch a lot of sports. My Monday, is it too late? I took my Christmas tree down. You ready to get yours down? Sorry, take that.
I mean, I put mine up in like the 1st of November. So like, yeah, I'm ready by the time the 26th gets here. I'm like, I can't get it out.
See, Martin Luther King Jr. Day for me. Once that goes, I'm like, hey, it's getting a little late. We should probably take it down. So we took them all down, but now the house just looks, there's like an empty hole and just empty spaces. I hate that first week where you get adjusted back to how the house looks.
Oh, see, I
you're ready.
I always say like I'm good. You can put your tree up whenever you want to, as long as the way you've put it up at the appropriate time is when you're sick of it on the 26th. Like if you're sick of if you put your tree up on December the 15th and you're sick of it at the 26th, then that's the appropriate amount of time. We put ours up like November the 5th. And so December 26th, I was like, all right, I'm out. And I had the flu, and I emerged from my hospital room, aka the basement, to no Christmas at all. And I was like, okay.
Clean break, man. That's great. Man, that's the way to do it. Just clean break Christmas. That also sounds like
Yeah.
a band or a Hallmark movie.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely a Hallmark movie.
I'm going to work on clean break
Lindsay
Christmas.
Lohan's next one.
Yep. I'm going to work on clean break Christmas and present it to Rusty for Tube and Tuesday tomorrow. That's going to do it for our show today. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your Monday morning.
Monday. Welcome to Mississippi.
Monday morning. Have a good day at work. If you're not working, have a great day too. Stay safe. We'll be back tomorrow. Go Grizz tonight in Madison Square Garden. I'm with Uncle Buck. Nothing like watching the Grizz in the garden. It's pretty cool. We'll be back tomorrow. If we can leave you with anything today, remember these two little things. Remember to be a little weird, just a little bit like he is, and remember to smile. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.